Okay, good evening everyone. Welcome to this, basically it's a primer session on electronics. Electronics has a very deep field into music, and there is a lot of electronic equipment which can be actually built by persons who actually design and build such things so that one can make, at the very least, some meaningful noise. I know that most of the people I see in front of me are more like music producers than electronics assemblers. And one of the first problems that one encounters when trying their hands into electronics is getting the hang of soldering. It becomes second nature, like when you're riding a bike, learning to ride a bike. But until you get the hang of it, it's difficult. And that's where people would say, no, it's too much for me, so maybe I would give electronic music a miss, which is a pity. However, as we will demonstrate today, there is a way to jump over the hurdle of soldering. And the component which actually does that is this little piece of plastic. It is called a proto board or breadboard or whatever it is. And basically it is a matrix of holes which has conductors underneath. They are horizontal from my alignment here, and there are, like when you play battleships, an alphanumerical reference for each hole. So basically, what we are going to do today, we will put the components one by one in order in their respective holes, and this board will connect them together. This board would do most of the wiring itself. However, to connect from one side to the other, we still need to do wiring. We will come to it. Okay, so if you would like now to open the bags, please. Okay. You would have one bag of components, one proto board, one rainbow lead of connectors, a battery connection, and a speaker. Now, there is also an instruction sheet, and we can have a look at it just so that we can start our thing. I think, Toni, I think you can go around now and straighten it out. Okay. Please take out the integrated circuit, which is with the pink piece of foam, so that Toni can straighten them out. This is the integrated circuit. Okay. In the meantime, I would suggest taking out all the components. Be careful not to lose them, and set them aside on their type of component. There are resistors, there are capacitors. If we have a look at the proto board, we would notice that there are the letters of the alphabet on the top and the bottom, and a sequence of numbers starting from the top to the bottom at the sides. Now, apart from the central lettering and numbers, there are on the side two connectors which are colored red and blue. Contrary to the central part, which has horizontal connectors underneath, these two columns at the sides have vertical lines underneath to conduct the power to the unit. If we look at the instruction sheet, you will see that the first component is the chip, which is an NE555. My name is Mike. This one is NE555, and that's how you identify it. We need to identify pin 1. You can't just put the chip in. There has to be a polarization. It will fit only in one way and not the other, otherwise it would burn up. If you look closely at the top of the chip, there is a circular indent, which if you hold it right in your hand, it should be on the top left-hand side of the chip. Okay? It is very important that you do not put it the other way around. That would be pin 1, the top left-hand pin next to that shiny dot there would be pin 1. Now, has everybody identified pin 1? Okay, now, if we look at the first instruction where it says chip NE555, you have pin 1, which is the top left-hand one pin, should go in E5. So place the chip with pin 1 on E5 and press it home. Okay? The black enclosure should be snug with the plastic underneath. Okay? Be sure that you have inserted all the pins into the holes. Right. Now, we will start with the resistors. Look up the resistor, which has the color codes. If you take a resistor, anyone, you would notice that there are rings around it which are colored. And we are looking for the resistor which has 2 orange rings and a black one. If the resistor has pieces of paper, just pull them apart. And remove the paper, just okay, there you go. Okay. The way to form the leads is you grab the resistor from the middle and you pull the leads like this. And you end up, okay? If we look up the first resistor, it should go in holes E3 and G6. E3 and G6. And you should end up with something like this. The second resistor is brown, red, red. Brown, red, red. Be sure you have the right resistor and form it in the same way as the first one. Brown, red, red. And this resistor goes into C7, F12. C7, F12. On to the third resistor. Everybody is still fitting it? Okay. This is easy, the resistor, because it is the blue one. Form it.
He said it was a blue.
It should go in G7 and G12. G7 and G12. Remember to plug it in securely. Okay? Okay. The fourth resistor, is brown, black, orange. Okay. And it goes from A7 to the red rail. Now, you will notice that there are two red rails, one on the left and one on the right. The one it should go into is the left red rail, and you can plug it in any number of the red rail that you want. From A7 to the red rail. A7 and the red rail. On to the last resistor, which is orange, orange, red. Obviously, it's the last one. So, if it is not orange, orange, red, you have chosen one and not the other. Form it again. And this one should go into C12 and anywhere on the left red rail. Okay? Any questions so far? We are going to change the type of component, which is a capacitor. The capacitors, the ones we have here at least, do not have color coding for their value identification. However, they have a very small number. We are looking for 103. Eyes down, first number, 103. 103. Okay? This capacitor should go between A5 and on to the left blue rail. Blue, not red. Always insert all components positively until they do not go into anymore the board anymore. The second capacitor, which is even smaller, just for fun, is 224, and it should go into A24 and the blue rail. We're looking at this, guys, if you look up there. Okay? Okay? Right. Third capacitor. The number is 104. And this capacitor should go between A27 and the blue rail on the left. Iva, wasalna fl-aħħar fil-fatt. Okay? Then, the last small capacitor, because there's yet another one, but it's huge by comparison, should be 3, 3, 3. And that should go into A30 and the left blue rail, the bottommost A30, the one down l-iktar waħda l-isfel. And you should end up with something like this. Take your time. Check that the last 4 capacitors, all the capacitors actually, are going into the left blue rail, not the left red rail. This one is easy. There's only one. It's the black capacitor. I need to trim it, but you don't. Now, everybody found the black capacitor? Okay. Take a look at its side and rotate it until you get what looks like a white band with arrowheads pointing towards the lead and a negative sign. Okay? That is the negative lead. You have the white line with the arrowheads and the negative sign. This lead next to the sign is the negative lead of the capacitor. And the negative lead of the capacitor, which is the white stripe, should go in E1 with the other lead going into E3. Okay, there's the resistor. So what we do is we move to the side here in the middle, as long as it is inserted the white negative lead is on row 1 and the negative and the positive one is on row 3. It could be into any letter as long as it goes into 1 and 3. Now, pick up the LED, the red indicator, and have a look at its leads. One lead is longer than the other. The long lead should go in A12, and the short lead should go to the left blue rail. Long one A12, short one left blue rail. If you put it the other way around, it will not light up, but no harm done in this case. Okay? Now, the LDR is that small pill-like thing with 2 leads coming out of it from one end. And you have like a zigzag on the other side. this is actually very similar to the resistors that we have fitted in, except that it changes its resistive value with the amount of light falling upon it. Hence its name LDR, which is not the London Dockland Railway, but the light-dependent resistor. And this should go into the right red rail, any location, and the right blue rail, again, any location you would like to put it in. And you get something like this. Now, we come to the last three components, which are three switches. They are all the same, they make no difference. So you can pick one up, and we can start by inserting it. Now, if you look at the connections of the switch, you will notice that they are on opposite sides, not, there is an alignment. And the switch goes in with the pins sideways. So basically, it goes, the pins are to the left and to the right, not top and bottom. With me? Now, the top left-hand pin goes in E22. Okay? E22. Like this. And press it down so that it fits snugly against the base. Okay? Okay? Just as a check, the switch, its left bottom pin should be on row 24, next to the capacitor. Okay? It should be on the same row. Right. Same thing with the other two. The second one, top left-hand pin should be in E25. E25. And the third switch, same thing, top left-hand pin on the side is E28. That concludes the components. Now, we shall connect them together with the rainbow leads. Right. We start, you can start with any color, but just for reference, I'm going to start with the brown one, which I have on my right-hand side. And what you do is you hold it from one of the side and just pull it apart like you're peeling a banana, basically. And you end up with this. And the lead goes from D6 D6, 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 and H7. D6 and H7. H7. Okay? The second lead is the red one. Peel it off and place it in D8 and G5. D8 and G5. And G5. D8, G5. On to the third lead, orange. And this goes from the left red rail and A8. A8. And the left red. Okay.
Anywhere?
Yeah. Yes. As long as it's on the left red rail. Okay. Next lead is the yellow one. And that goes also from the left, this goes from the blue left rail and H8. H8 and the blue left rail. Anywhere on the blue left rail. Green wire goes from I7 and B22. B22. With me so far? Blue wire. A22, A25. Purple wire. B25, A28. B25, A28. It's purple, but again. Gray wire. J7, J7 into the right blue rail anywhere. And finally, the white wire into H12 and anywhere on the right red, not blue, red rail. and you have a spare lead, okay? Check that none of the component leads are touching each other. If they are, adjust them so that they don't touch anymore. So the next thing is the loudspeaker. And it should be inserted into the left blue rail and A1. One thing to note with the loudspeaker, be careful that you do not press down on the black paper cone, because otherwise you would damage it. Now, the only thing left is to connect the battery lead and here there is another be careful moment. Positively identify the red lead and insert it into anywhere into the red left rail, with the black one going into the blue left rail. Be super sure that the red lead is definitely on the red rail and the black on the blue rail and not the other way around. Moment of truth. Before you connect the battery, be sure that before you connect it to the terminals, you have the terminals the right way around. This is very important, because otherwise it's bye-bye project, okay, guys? So be extra careful for that, okay? Now, if you take your phones out and you turn the torch on, you would increase the light output next to the LDR, and you get a higher tone. You can press more than one key and you get the fourth and the fifth tone. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. Yes, you can press them in any combination of them and you get different tones. Okay, there you go. Right. You can also use the ambient light and you change it . Okay, it's similar to a theremin in the noise generation, not the way it works. The theremin is totally different. Okay, now, if you want to really annoy the guy next to you, you can put it in drone mode. Okay? And what you could do, I thought that would tickle somebody, you know, like when you have your neighbor, plug it into your Wi-Fi and your hi-fi and let it rip. Yes, yes. If you pull out, right, the green lead and you plug it in any of the bottom left-hand lead of any switch, you would get a drone. I will repeat that. When you pull out the green lead from next to the switch,
Okay.
and you plug it into the lead at the bottom of the switch rather than the top where it was inserted, you get a constant tone. Okay? And you can do that on any of the 3 switches. To be more precise, you can insert them into rows 24, 27, or 30. Okay? Rows 24, 27, or 30. Okay? Okay. Okay, people. That concludes our building session. We have succeeded in making a noise tool, whatever instrument, it's a toy basically. But, you know, you can have fun with it, making noise. And annoying people, basically.